Hello and welcome to SourceCAD. In this video, I'll share 9 tips that will help you work faster with Solidworks. If you want to learn Solidworks completely from scratch using more than 20 hours of video courses backed by real-world projects and instructor support, then check our Solidworks course library. Link is in the description of the video. And you can click here too for that link. You can enroll now for a very little subscription fee and you can cancel it anytime you want. So with that, let's get started. So tip number 1 is related to sketches. So let's say we have a 3D model and we want to use some of these edges as reference for our 2D sketch. Now we want to make a sketch on maybe a plane which is perpendicular to this edge. So for that, you don't need to make a plane. You can directly select the edge and then go to the sketch tool. Now the plane will align, which is perpendicular to the selected edge. And if I make something, for example, a circle, exit out of this, you will notice that now the circle is exactly perpendicular to this selected edge. Not only that, it will work for these kind of curved edges. For example, here we have this arc. I'll select this edge and then I'll go to sketch. And now if I make a circle, of course, I'll end up with a circle which is made exactly along the plane perpendicular to this edge, and it's at the point of selection. So if I click right about here, then Solidworks will create a plane right here which is perpendicular to this edge, and that's gonna make your work a lot easier as you're not making the plane. All right, let's exit out of this. Now the tip number 2 is directly related to 2D sketch. So let me show you what that is, and for that I'm going to open a completely new drawing. So here we are. Now here I'll start with sketch tool, or maybe from any other plane here, maybe front plane. Now I'll start with line tool. So when making line, you'll simply get this kind of workflow. So select the line. Now if you want to exit, simply press escape and start over again, and the line command is here again. Now if you don't want to do that, if you want to cut one single step, and that's exiting and starting it over again, then you can simply double click, and now not only the command will exit, but it will also start the line tool again. So here we are. Now once again, let's say we want to exit and make another horizontal line, then double click, and there we are back to this. Now this will not only work for line, but it will also work for other similar commands. For example, spline. So we have a spline here, and now let's say we want to exit my spline right here. So I'll double click here, and now once again it started this spline tool. So double click, and once again we are back to spline. So this will basically help you cut one extra step, which is quite a big time saver. All right, now the next one is also related to sketches, and here especially it's related to sketch dimension. Now I'm going to make a circle here. All right, and let's add the smart dimension. So I'll go to smart dimension, I'll click this origin, and then I'll select the circle, and by default it will select the center of circle for dimensioning, and there we are, we've got this thing added here. But what if we don't want to select this, and instead we want to select the circumference for dimensioning? Well, in that case you can use the shift key override. So let's go to smart dimension, I'll select the origin, and now instead of selecting this, I'll simply press and hold my shift key, and now I'll select this circle. And as you can see, when I'm bringing my cursor close to this point, it is selecting this circumference, and if I move it here, it's going to select that circumference. So you can select any end of this circle, actually any part of this circumference, there is no end. So maybe I'll just select this one, and now I'll click, and we have the dimension from circumference to origin instead of center to center. Now this one is related to line command. So here I'll go to sketch and select a plane. Now let's start making a line. So I'll go to line, and I'll just maybe select the origin and start making a simple line. Now if you want to convert this line into an arc, all you've got to do is just move your cursor back to the starting point, but don't click. Now if you move it away, Solidworks will make an arc. Not only that, the direction of arc will depend on the direction of your cursor. So if I move it closer and then move it in this direction, the arc will be made like so. If I move here and move my cursor away like this, then we'll have this kind of arc. So it completely depends on how you move your cursor away. So if I move it like that, we have this kind of sharp corner here instead of a tangential arc. So it completely depends on how you move out. Once you make the arc, the command will go back to line. Alternatively, you can also type A when line command is active, and that's going to shift it to arc. And once again, we are back to line. Now, when you are making an arc by pressing A key or simply going back to the starting point, and let's say you want now to go back to line, simply press A key again, and we are back to the line tool. Now this next tip is related to making quick copies. Now let's say we want to make quick copy of these three sketches. So this one, I'll control select this and I'll control select this. Now, if you want to make a copy of this, simply press and hold control key and move it out. And Solidworks will create a copy of that sketch. So select the sketch, press and hold control, move it out to create the copy. Now this next tip is quite important. Actually, I use it all the time and it is related to assigning our own shortcuts. Now let me show you an example. So I'll go to sketch and I'll simply create a sketch. So here I'll just create a circle and maybe a rectangle. Now to add the dimension, the smart dimension, you need to go to this smart dimension tool right here. So go to this and now you can add the smart dimension quite easily here. But what if we want to avoid that too? So clicking on a tool from command manager is quite slow. If you want to access it very quickly, then you can do that using keyboard. And now here I will assign a dedicated key to smart dimension. For that, I'll go to once again options here and then select customize. Now in the customize option, we have keyboard. So go to keyboard and find the command which you want to customize. I want to customize here smart dimension. So I'll just type smart and the smart dimension will show up. Now go to shortcut and type the shortcut key which you want to assign here. So I'll type D and done. Now D key is already assigned, but it's not assigned to a very kind of useful tool. So I'll simply select yes to accept the override and click OK. Now we have assigned D for smart dimension. So instead of selecting it from here, now I'll simply type D and the smart dimension will activate and I can now add dimensions like that. Now this is exact same hotkey for smart dimension in Fusion 360 and that's why I prefer it here in Solidworks as well. Now if you want to access commands very quickly, let's say you have some set of commands that you use quite frequently, then you can put those commands on the shortcut bar. The shortcut bar will show up when you type S key. So this is the shortcut bar. Now, as you can see, we have some frequently used commands here and you can access any command from this shortcut bar. You don't have to go to the command manager. But what if you want to add new commands here? Well, you can type S, then search the name of command. For example, here I'll type smart dimension and here we are. Simply select it and click on this plus. And that's going to add it here. Now the smart dimension is added on the shortcut bar. So you can just select it from here and now the command is added like so. Now, if you want to remove this command, then removing it is quite easy. So once again, go to customize and select shortcut bar. Now the shortcut bar will show up. Simply select the command and drag it, drop it outside. Now the command is removed. Click OK and we are done. The command is now removed from shortcut bar. Type S and we no longer have that command.
Now this next step is quite interesting. So here if you want to import a simple image and then convert it into 2D sketch, then well, we have a tool directly in SolidWorks to do just that. Let's see how it works. So I'll go to sketch and I'll select a plane. Now after selecting a plane, go to tools, sketch tools and sketch picture. So this will import the picture. Now here I'll go to desktop and here I have lesson files and this gear image. So I'll select this gear image and click open. Alright, so that's open. Now, as you can see, the image size is not quite right. So I'll just make it right by moving this scale line. So I'll just move it right here and from here, I'll just move it right here. Now this length should be 200 units, 200 mm in this case. So I'll just type 200 and OK. Also, you can change the location of this to origin. So maybe this one, I'll move that to 0 and then Y to 0. Now that's at origin. So with that, I'll now click OK. But before I do that, just look at this. We don't have any extra option in sketch picture. So that's about it. But I'll click OK and now I'll activate an option called Autotrace. So I'll go to this drop down, select add-ins, and right here we have an option called Autotrace. So I'll simply activate this and now I'll double click this image to go back to the sketch picture option. And now we have this extra option. So click on next and that will take you to this auto trace option where we can now trace the boundaries of this image. Now for auto trace to work, there should be a very high contrast between the colors. And as you can see, this one is a completely black and white image. So there is a really good contrast and that's the kind of image which you should select for auto trace. Now with that, I'll go to this dropper tool and select any area inside this black region and now click on this option begin trace and it will trace the boundary and create the sketch using that boundary. Click OK and we have the sketch using that image. Now you can select the image, delete it, or maybe in this case I'll just right click and suppress it. So there we are. Now you can of course convert it into a 3D solid if you want. For example, I'll go to feature, extruded boss base feature, and I'll just select this one and extrude it like so. Click OK, and here we are. Of course, if you want, you can extrude that region simply by changing the contours. So I'll go to edit sketch and go to this selected contours, clear selection, and there we are. Now it will just extrude the exact region. Now let's talk about the next step. Now this next step will help you make sketches on 3D solids very quickly. And this one is called rapid sketch. Now consider a situation where you have this kind of 3D solid and now you want to make several sketches on these different planes. Now to do that, you may need to switch to different planes to make the sketches. But with rapid sketch, we can do that very quickly. Now the rapid sketch tool may not be available for you on the sketch command manager by default. I have it here, but if you don't see it, then you need to activate it first. And you can go to this drop down, customize, and go to commands, and here search for the command. So I'll just type rapid, and here we have it. Simply drag it and drop it here. Once it is added, well, you can use it. In this case, I'll just drag it and drop it outside. And with that, click OK. Alright, now I'll go to rapid sketch, and now we are ready to make sketches quite quickly. So all we need to do is select a sketch and just go to a plane, and it will let you make sketch right there on the plane. So if I go to a different plane, it will let us make the sketch on that plane. You can also switch to a different sketch tool if you want. For example, now I'm making a rectangle. Here I'm making a rectangle again. If you want lines, well, you can go to line and you can create it maybe on this plane. Now once you are done, exit out of this sketch, and now we have several sketches. So all of these sketches are made on the respective plane. So if you have created more than one sketch on a plane, Solidworks will add it as one single sketch. Or in this case, I've got all of these sketches on different planes, so it will create separate sketches for all the separate planes.
So that was my list of 9 SolidWorks tips to make your workflow faster. If you want to learn SolidWorks even further professionally with full-length courses, projects, and instructor support, then explore our SolidWorks course library that contains more than 20 hours of video content related to SolidWorks part modeling, assembly, rendering, drawing, and a lot more. All of this is available for a small subscription fee, and you can cancel it anytime you want. If you are not satisfied with the course, we'll give you complete refund too. No questions asked. So click the link down below to enroll now, and I'll see you in another video.